is there any Tudor that holds or appreciates in value? And I think we have two references that we wanted to talk about. John, do you want to pick one, and
Yes,
then I'll talk about whichever one you decide not to talk about?
we've got the Tudor Black Bay Harrods, that's trading over retail. And there's the second, the 79220N, which has a extremely short production span. So why don't I talk about the Tudor Black Bay Harrods, the 79230G. I'm based in London, so this is something that is close to home. So this why does the Tudor Black Bay Harrods trade over its retail? Well, it's in collaboration with Harrods, a UK departmental store. um, it's based in London, and you have to be there in person to put your name down on the waiting list. And eventually, I think right now they were quoting about a 1 to 1.5 year wait list for this piece. And eventually, when you do get the email stating that you're able to purchase it, you need to show up in person to collect it yourself. So, think about if you think about it, it's actually relatively difficult for people outside of UK to get these pieces, because let's say you're traveling in London and you put your name down, that you still face the difficulty of you do not know when. Eventually, you're going to be given a 2 week window to say, come collect this piece. And now you're going to have to book a flight, fly into London and pick it up yourself. So, I think currently this on the secondary market trades for approximately 4,000 $4,100. That the retail here in London's about £3,090, which equates to about 3,600 USD. So it's going at about a $500 premium over its retail. But why I say earlier when I said, is the Black Bay Harrods kind of holding its value? Well, if you look at the 1 year price history, it actually peaked at about $5,000. And since then, I assume as more pieces have entered the market, and also the watch market downturn, we've kind of seen it kind of just a steady decline, a very steady and gradual decline in market price to where it is now over the past year. Yeah. So why don't you tell us more about the 79220N?
Sure. This is a watch I've spoken about before in some YouTube videos that are floating around that may or may not have my face on them, which I may or may not feel incredibly cringy about. But this is a watch that, with its last known retail price, I think was around $3,425 in 2015. And this watch currently trades at around $4,900. It's discontinued, so you can't buy it new. It was only in production for something like 6 months. Some people, the number floating around on the internet varies between 5 to 8 months. And
And
um,
real quick, if I may interrupt, that is actually, if I'm not wrong, the shortest production time in Tudor's history for a
right,
specific model.
this is the third reference in the Black Bay family. The first one was a red one, the second one was a blue one, and then they did this one, which is really like the first one that like looks like a classic dive watch, or like really fits the archetype of a classic dive watch. And so if it's like heritage inspired, quote unquote, this is the one that really fits that bill. And it's got the Tudor rose logo instead of the shield logo on the dial. It's got the smiley face text. All of those things basically just come together to make this a perfect watch for people to want to buy and collect, even now after all these years. My hypothesis on that is it's basically people speculating and playing the long game on the eventual historical significance of this as one of the earliest Tudor Black Bay references that Tudor has done in the modern era. You can imagine 15, 20, 25, 30 years from now, if Tudor is still, a big thing and as hot, if not hotter, than what it is today in terms of brand equity and, its position in the market, then this is a watch that will be incredibly desirable because it will be one of the earliest references that tells the story of how Tudor got to that point. So I think it's an interesting watch in that sense, and helps explain a little bit why these references, they're low production. There's something genuinely interesting about them, and they're not that easy to get, either because they're no longer made or because you literally have to be in the right place at the right time to buy one. And across those two facets, I think, yeah, there are Tudors that will hold and appreciate value.
Yeah, I say when you look at like the production time for this piece, it's really what is impacting its market price. When you look at the 79220R and 79220B, the blue and red bezel counterparts, which you mentioned earlier, they are trading on the secondary market now for approximately $3,100, as compared to the 79220N, which is trading in the range of about $4,900. So a significant premium over its counterparts.
The only other comment I would add to this is that I think the question, as I understand it, is coming a little bit from a place of trying to understand Tudor's place in the market, and whether this trend of high pieces really does extend to other brands. I think if you compare Tudor to other brands, what we know from just the way that the market has behaved and where it's sitting right now, there are a handful of references from other mid-level brands that will maybe attract enthusiasm, and that enthusiasm will translate into a premium on the pre-owned market. But I think by and large, it's just the big guys and the big pieces from the big guys that see really significant premiums and hold their value as well as they do. So when I say the big guys, I mean Rolex, Patek, AP on the pre-owned market. Are the ones which collectively combine for most of the sales value. So I think for watches from those three brands, it's very common to see, or it's almost at this point surprising to see watches not trading for premiums above retail. Which is not to say that the entirety of all of their catalogs all trade above retail, but by and large, the pieces that are normally thought about when we're having this discussion certainly all trade above retail. It's the other brands just don't capture, I think, both the enthusiast mindset and certainly the market's attention in the way that the other brands just as a whole do. So yeah, you may occasionally see the Tudor reference pop up above retail on the pre-owned market in terms of premium it commands, but I doubt that means we're headed to a world where everything that Tudor makes will sell for a premium.
Yeah, I think I agree with that entirely. I mean, I think Tudor has come a long way from where it used to be. We're starting to see watches in the recent years, Tudor releases commanding, significant premiums upon first entering the secondary market. However, it seems to suffer. They all seem to suffer a similar fate, which is a steady decline as more pieces enter the secondary market. Some examples being the Tudor Black Bay Chrono 79360. That is another piece
Mm-hmm.
that still trades above retail, approximately $4,800 on a secondary market. When that first entered the secondary market, was in 2021, it was trading at about $6,400. Another example is very recent. You'll definitely remember this one, the Tudor Black Bay Pro, the
Right.
GMT. So, that has a retail of $4,000. When it first entered the secondary market, they were commanding about $1,500 over its retail price. So trading for about 5,500. Since then, once again, a steady decline, and it's currently sat at about $3,500.